it's actually a magic, okay, the magic that starts with 2004. Okay, so why I remember the year. The year that I first got my Gmail invitation. Okay, yeah, someone, I don't know why, a non-engineering student, okay, which I teach before, and was a girl, okay, sent me the invitation, and by that time I understood that, hey, very, very good, okay, we have a Gmail. Gmail has a very special thing, is when you want to send an email, you want to compose the email or whatever action that you perform over Gmail, you won't have a page load. It won't be low. We won't change anything. Okay? And just like nowadays, what is the analogy? The analogy is YouTube. Okay? When you go to YouTube, you load a video and then load another video, you can say that there's no page load. Okay? But YouTube nowadays uses another technology which is called H3 API. Now this is the technology that emerged by 2004, XMLHttpRequest. Don't care about XML. Okay? No one uses XML now. Okay? Sucks. I don't know why. Some company tell you that they are having an advanced technology or using HTML or XML. I will make an analogy. Hey, what is so special about using plain text? XML for me is plain text. Okay? So stupid. So what is that? Something that is we start with some history lessons. The history lesson is, you know, Uncle Bill, okay? Or Uncle Gates. I don't know what you want to say about him, okay? Usually don't follow sentence, okay? And one of the standard is once XMLHttpRequest emerged, nowadays there is another sibling code which suffers from the same problem. It's called X-domain request, okay? Something close together. Now this guy, if you who still have AJAX, you still have AJAX. That means that we still have XP without any patch. A patch applies. Anyone? No, very good. Okay. I tell you one important thing. Okay. I guess there should be XP as well as Windows 98 still exists in our government. Don't believe in me? Ask who has been have an internship in the government. No one. No one. You? No? Yeah. You can ask some people. They still have XP. They still have 98, Win98, okay? And the reason, one of the most obvious reasons is some machines, okay, have to work with another machine using drivers. They don't have drivers because, let's say, the hardware company already go bankrupt, okay? So no any updates. So they have to give the OS, okay? So then suddenly that you want to work with that machines using IE6, you will fail. Okay, what is the meaning? XMLHttpRequest is not exist on IE6. Okay, and the story goes further into the how to patch it. Okay, Uncle Bill the thing of other way to patch it using the thing called ActiveX. Okay, we know ActiveX. Okay, no one is using it anymore. Okay, and then nowadays XMLHttpRequest, I love to call it XHR. The XHR thing is already a common standard. No, I guess no browser won't support it. Okay, every browser should support it except IE6. Okay, now since this is a form of education, right? If there exists, okay, you go to the government, and the government will give you an XP computer or Windows 98 computer. Okay, so you have to work with it. You have to write a system that uses XMLHttpRequest. So what should you do? Okay, there is I copied this from the book. Okay, the book tells us if you have to face such a scenario that you don't know what happened to the OS, but it's a 2.0. It's use different kind of codes. Okay, so I list out these three guys. 1, 2, 3 guys, and this 3 guys is actually coming from this here. Okay, I don't know which version of IE you're using, which version of OS you're using. Still, if you pack the things like this, no problem. You will eventually support this kind of thing. Now, how to understand this code? This code is very important. Why? Because I don't know when we suddenly will have another call. Okay, IE has this way, not IE anymore. Sparta has this way. What else? Chrome has this way. Opera has another way. Safari is using another way also. So you can make this in this way. You know, function. You can set a function as a variable, right? You have set a function to be a variable. So what we are going to do, we are not invoking the function, but I pack it as a function and put it in a variable inside an array. Okay, so it depends on how many variations you want to have. Put all the variation into an array and loop through it. Okay, for each of the loop, you try to execute this so-called function that pack your target call. Okay, I don't know which. Okay, but we love to use XMLHttpRequest first, so I put it in the first guy, so that I will try to execute it. If the browser is too old, then we will raise a problem here and we'll cache here. So go through this loop. What will happen? If this doesn't exist XMLHttpRequest object, it fails, and immediately go to continue. Continue will go to the loop again and loop to the other guy until you success on calling this guy. If these three guys are not supported, okay, then you have to return down. Okay, so this is the way. But I mean, nowadays we cannot find any old computer, at least in this university. Okay, so I will continue the journey and talk about using XMLHttpRequest HHR. Okay, directly. So the HHR is a very important call. Okay, what is it? Important call? If you have attend Victor's lecture talk about Ruby on Rails. Yeah, I don't know why suddenly this morning, Syntax, okay, you know Syntax, not syntax, Syntax, our sixth floor, okay, the office, the manager called K1 called me, and they asked me an extremely important questions, okay, I mean to you, not to me. It asked, hey, everyone, 6 Ruby on Rails, what? They asked me suddenly who know Ruby on Rails, okay? And it says it's because some of his friends want to hire people who know Ruby on Rails, okay? And you know, his friend directly called the manager of Syntax, so you know how good relationship they are, okay? So why suddenly we call your memory over Ruby on Rails, okay? Now look at this variable called request. The request is to make a request to the web server. Now, what are the methods that it supports? Here, I write get. Now, you know, if it is a Ruby on Rails, it's used a so-called RESTful API, or other language we have also RESTful API. It will use different methods to identify different requests. Get request to read the object, post request, delete request, and put requests. Okay, you can change different requests to accommodate that you want to do the create, read, update, delete. Okay, or for operations. Okay, so it can be changed, but you seldom use others, unless you're implementing the RESTful API by yourself. Okay, then here you plug in the URL, and then you set a false here. Later on, I will tell you what is the meaning of here, why I have a true or false here. And it's not about event propagation anymore, it's about another thing. Okay, then after you do so, you set a variable, then you can send, call it send, and then you will send a request to the server. Now what is it? Okay, the flow will then stop here. Now I use the OS term again. It is a blocking system call. So you send out, it will block the program here until when? Until it send you replies. And when it sends you replies, it will send a request ready state equal to 4. So what is the 4 here? Okay, there are different states. I don't know why it's implemented like that. Okay, but this is the old standard. The current standard, you can avoid using these numbers. You can change it in another way. Okay, later on I will tell you. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. It means the state. Okay, so the state is very funny. state 0, okay, that means that you just create an object, and after you call open, it will become, the state will become 1, and then you didn't call the send, now you call the send, it was transmit, okay? Transmit, okay, into a 2, and then go to 3, downloading now, because the request come back, and the request is failed. So you will have sometime change to 2, from 2 to 3, and stay for 3 for some time, and then transit into 4. Okay, so that's why you will see some of the code that hard coded 4 here. Okay, now after it come back, okay, you can do some other things. What are they? You can check the status. Whether it's 200 okay, 404, okay, 404 is that? 404, what is it? Not found, okay. 43, forbidden. Okay, something like that, okay. Then you can code all the things here. And what is the results? The result is here. Okay, I would say this is a raw result. So what does it mean, a raw result? You send me a JPEG. This is a JPEG, raw materials all in there. Okay? Now remember, it's a raw thing. Okay? And if you're using jQuery, jQuery allows you to transform this guy, okay, into your target content type. Okay, later on I will tell you how, very easily. Okay, it's because here it's just a version 1 of the XHR object. We have the version 2 now. Okay, so the version 2 is much easier to write. Now here is the call. I can show you the very easy demonstration, really very easy here. Okay, so the page is called getSyncHTML. Okay, so I will execute the code. Let me make it a single column. Okay, the code is like this. Now, not difficult at all, right? I just copy and paste all the things, okay? And then here you will find that I will have a checking whether this is a 200 okay or not. Okay, very simple. If I type a wrong URL, it may become a 441 found. Okay. Now what is the big thing here? The big thing here is like this. Imagine the cases. You load the HTML, okay, and basic HTML, and inside the basic HTML you call a JS, okay, call a JS. Import it into your program, and JS will call this function to start another wave of download. Okay, it may be something like my course homepage. So I don't know whether you are so boring and trace what happened inside this course homepage. Okay, so you can see that this course homepage is doing this loading. Okay, this loading is not a GIF. Okay, I control it. Okay, and based on the XMLHttpRequest request that finish, I move the progress bar. Okay, so one of the things, these things. Okay, what are they? Okay, so time to share with you how to use this dev tools. This dev tools is very convenient. There is a network trace. The network trace is very good. Okay, so let's show all the things. And we load. Okay, so you can see this my page actually load many things, like the icons. You can see some icons here, right? And there is something interesting down there, up there, not down there. Okay, some where are they? Where are the XMLHttpRequest requests? Okay, maybe I highlight here. Here, they're here. Okay. So you can see I actually download something, okay, using XMLHttpRequest, and I download all the news. I pack it into an object. Okay, can you see this? I pack all the January news for the day. Okay, I actually download all the things piece by piece. Okay, the HTML that I have is just a hollow frame. Okay, I keep on calling the things like the menu bar here. The menu bar actually is a config file. I download it and put it into this browser. The browser helped me to render it. Okay, so that's why you can see this, the OS course and the 440 is just like the same. Okay, I just changed the configuration file. I just use the same frame. Okay, I all write it by myself, so I'm very clear about all the design. Okay, so you can see so many things that will download using this XHR, XMLHttpRequest. Okay, so that means that you can, oh, not this. So using this, that means that you can have like my design, I have a hollow frame, the frame that help me to display the components. And then I load the JavaScript. Each function is to load different components, right? But the problem is how to put that components on the page, right? Very simple. Use DOM scripting. Okay? And use DOM scripting. Before I talk about using DOM scripting, I will like to change the topic by a little bit, and then I will combine DOM scripting together. Okay? So what is the topic that I want to change? Is still about this open, but I focus as this variable now, the true and the false. So what is the how to remember it? Okay, how to remember it is XMLHttpRequest is a new technology, right? It wants you to use a new way to download things. And what is the new way of download things? Is don't want to have a blocking call here. We don't want to block the progress, so we call it the asynchronous download. So what does it mean asynchronous? I call .send. Okay, what is .send? You send a call to the server and wait for the server to give you a reply. And JavaScript code won't block it here if you set it to be true. So true means that you use new technology. False means you old outdated technology. You will block here. Okay. Now the problem is very ugly, right? I call the function to work for me, but it don't give me response. Okay, it's ugly. Now here, I don't need to wait for its response. We go for a very trendy way, okay? I guess Mendong already talked about Node.js. And Node.js follow the same design principle. It makes all things go to the asynchronous direction. And the asynchronous direction here based on the event to trigger the next wave of operation. So what's the next wave? The first wave is you set up all the operations and you fire up all the operations. Like you can have for loop to download multiple files, just like my homepage design. My course homepage design is like that. I have a set of calls, I fire all the XML requests, and they will come back, not one by one, maybe immediately, come back together. Okay, because I fire it up using multi-threading manner. Okay, so then I fire up a request, I will wait for the corresponding events to come back. And the event that will look after it is the ready state. Still remember ready state? The ready state is this guy, ready state. This is a big letter S, okay? Now here it becomes a small letter, okay? Don't spell it wrong. Or ready state change. So this is an event. When the ready state changes its value, it will fire the event, okay? So here is events. And the events that we want to handle is like this. Okay. I call a function. Okay, I call a function. And the function itself, okay, what is the meaning? I will look at the request, and the request is something, okay, that I will do something like this. Okay? And I highlight here why can't we write it this way. So what is the meaning? Let me show you. Let me show you what is the meaning here. Okay, I said that. Where is my sample? Okay, I said that I will use DOM scripting to put the stuff right, put the stuff up to the screen. Okay, and here I'm not using DOM scripting. I just use some boring code. Okay, document.writes. Okay. And this guy, what is this guy? This guy will call the read URL, a function that I write to drive to drive XHR call. The XHR call eventually will return request.response text. When it returns, I said it is a raw content. Okay, the raw content will be written at this location, and I use the H1 tag to embrace it, okay, to make it outstanding. So this is what I have done. Now I said that we can write in this way. So what is happening here? Well, actually there are two questions. Let's solve this question first. Why we cannot write in this way? Okay, so let's take a look here. I set up our function, and the function's target is to handle events. And that's why it will be invoked later. Okay? So what is the meaning? The meaning is this is just a registration step. I register, and this function called read URL, okay, under which status? Let's see here. I have a get async wrong.html, get async wrong, undefined. Very nice, huh? So what is it? Let's take a look. I'm still not using DOM scripting, but I use the original call. I ask the read URL to return me the hello.txt. The content is not undefined. Huh? Don't say that, oh, your content is undefined. Okay, no. The content is, where is the content? The content is how there, how are you, okay? Now what happened here, the problem is, this is the function that you've seen in the PowerPoint, okay? And the function will return at this moment. What is the meaning? The meaning is, this bunch of code is just a registration step. You register, and then done. The registration that takes 0.1 millisecond. Okay. After it, okay, the request doesn't come back. Okay, the response doesn't come back, and this function immediately return. And because there is no return value, so this guy will receive not the hello.txt is empty, but this function call will return undefined. Okay, so that's the problem. And to illustrate, if you're using an XMLHttpRequest call using the force, so that means that using a synchronous call is something like this. You call send, okay, and the send returns. Now here the send returns. You're still inside the function, no problem. But you finish the registration of the event handling, and then you stop the function, and that's the problem. Okay, and that's the problem. So execution of the event is being delayed. Okay, so this is the first problem. Second problem, I don't know whether you understand this or not, okay? It depends on how good or bad you're writing in C. So let me ask these questions. So this is the function, right? This is a block. This function, this is a block, okay? Let me ask you when this function will be called. This function, the ping part, when it's being called. Is it being called while you are calling this function, called read URL? No. So what is the time it's being called? It's not right after, but maybe far after this read URL has returned. Right? It's a problem. It seems that you don't understand my question. Let me make this question more clear to you. Inside this function, I have a problem. The problem is, let's imagine that this is a local variable called request. This is a local variable called request. And inside this scope, okay, so what is this scope? The function, right? You have a block. Okay? So you have a block here, so there's a function. I access this local variable called request. Okay? We ask for this request for the help. Now, after this function finish executed, I finish its execution, what happens to this variable? If it is C, if you're using C, you call a function. The function is finished. It is gone. Right? It is gone. Now, how about this guy? If it is gone, that means that later on, when the events come back, I execute this guy, this request will be pointed to nowhere. Or it shouldn't be allowed to write this code. Okay? Now I show you something which is the magic. The magic is the correct version of this call, first of all. The correct version, first of all, we have two problems, right? The first problem is about the return. We cannot rely on the return anymore because the function will return early. Second is the request. Where is the request? The request is hidden inside the scope of this function, and this function is being finished, executed, and destroyed. All the memory should be gone. Now I've tried to solve our first problem. First problem is how to deal with it. We will use DOM scripting. Just like my homepage, my console page, follow this aside. Okay? Inside here, we no longer depend on this function to return something useful to the page. I will use DOM scripting to add the component that I have just get back. So what is the component that I just get back? Is the request.response text. You just get it back, okay? And when I get it back, I put it into the body as the latest child, okay? So the latest child is combined together will be a new version called getAsynccorrect. Okay, now let's take a look of the function call itself. It's still the same, except that I changed the return. No longer need to return anymore because there's nowhere to return, right? Because I don't know where to return. So in the calling part, can you see I call the function? Yes. But when I call the function, I no longer use a document.write. Okay? I just simply call this function. I call the function, and when I call this function, it will guarantee that later on it will get the revenge because the HTML, the hello.txt come back. Okay? And then I write the content to the body. So that's why you have this output. No problem. Problem number one solved. Problem number two. Okay? Problem number two is, if you don't understand problem number two, or you never heard of problem number two, don't tell people that you know JavaScript. Okay? So this is not my comment. This comment is from yesterday speaker, as well as Benjay. Benjay also said this: if you don't know culture, don't tell people that you don't know JavaScript. Okay? If you say JavaScript and you never heard of Poster, don't need to hire the guy. Okay? Really, I just set up a Coaster example, okay, during some interview where people claim that they know JavaScript. I show this, and when they don't know how to answer, goodbye. Okay? Now, what is this problem? The problem is totally depends on this scope, and I'm trying to understand this problem. We fail. What is going on? We fail means that we kind of get lost in our old concept, okay? We're being jailed by our old concept. Old concept say that this guy is being constructed and being destroyed after call. I will say no. Okay? JavaScript is crazy. Okay? What is the meaning of crazy? Okay? First of all, the first statement is JavaScript treat function as a first-class citizen. So as a main first-class citizen, they love function a lot. Okay? Whenever they find a function, they will look at some special things. What are they? Let's take a look at this definition of this function. Can you find any local variable of this definition? No. No local variable. Okay? But inside this function, you still use variables. What are the variables that you're using? The request, right? I'm using the request variable, and I open the local variable only in the else part, okay? So now, what happened to this variable? Okay? Later on, I will use other examples to illustrate. You now hard code in your mind first, as if you construct this function. JavaScript knows that you construct this function, right? When you construct this function, JavaScript will scan the variable that you will try to use inside this function. And when it scans a variable that doesn't create within this scope, it will, as if, using a pointer to point at this guy and say that, hey, don't leave. Even though I finished calling you, don't destroy. Don't destroy this guy. Okay? So we will bind it together. So a function definition is not a function definition. It's a function definition together with the variable inside scope. So there's two components now. Okay, in C you write a function. Okay, you use global variable, local variable. Okay, and when you finish the function called local variable, all good. Now here it's about the definition of the function. When you define a function, function body is one piece of thing, and another piece of thing is the variable that belongs to this function definition, and it will do a scan. The scan will first tell you that, okay, I have a local variable h1. No problem, I create for you what you call it. Now here it also has a variable, kind of a global, but eventually it's finding it's not a global, it's only within this function call. No problem, it set up a pointer. Point to it and say that don't destroy it, and they will share the same piece of memory. We call it cluster, C-L-O-S-U-R-E, combined together. We call it cluster. Once we have cluster or something that you will try to write, then you will make your program like crazy. Okay. Later on, I will show you some crazy example. Okay, don't worry. So about one more thing, what is one more thing? We can write better API-like code, okay, in order to have a nice code like this, okay. This is just a natural integration from this version to this version, okay. On ready state change, I point a function on ready state change, I point to some checking and call another function that you pass in. Right? Why not? You can pass a function to me, okay? And I put it here and say that the results will be passed to your callback functions, okay? And guess what? It is actually the way that jQuery, okay, is writing things, okay? I don't know whether you know it or not, okay? You write jQuery code, okay? If you have written jQuery, you understand what I mean. Okay, it's asked you to say that there's a .done, okay, .done variable, okay, it will ask you to plug in a function, okay, and the function is actually your callback, okay. We usually call it callback. You can pass in the function so that later on, if the function is not null or not undefined, I will call the function based on the result of the request.response text, okay. So how about the post call? The post call, maybe I can't remember whether the YouTube API needs the post call. I don't remember. Okay, but yeah, let's imagine that we want to pretend that I do a form submission. I pretend that I'm doing an automatic login. Okay, so then I can set up a function to put all the things here. DY1 equal to so. Log in to DY1 and password so set. Okay, then I can combine this line together and put it in the input. Of course, I will change this method from get to post. Again, you can choose to have a true or false at the third argument. It depends on whether you love to have asynchronous or synchronous control. Here, this example is a synchronous control. Okay, so here is the call. And what if you want to encode it, because inside this line you may contain a space, you may contain some strange like apostrophe, double quote, whatever, and or whatever strange character. You can go through this. This is JavaScript called encode URI component positive. Okay, I remember someone already said that in a group. Okay, we should use a encode URI component. Okay, is it Anthony? Is you talk about this in the group? You tell the tutor using change the tutorial notes. We should use this. Oh, your status. Oh, sorry. It's personal thing, okay? Okay, so then when we combine together, we can write something like this, right? You log in, then you use the post method, do an asynchronous call. Asynchronous. While you're doing asynchronous, you can still control the outlook, okay, the page look like I can disable all the field, disable all the button, okay, and show some animated GIF. And after it's come back, I use DOM scripting to change it into the login success. Okay. If you don't understand how to do all the change, okay, well actually I use a CSS control. Okay, use a style, a display none. Originally, I cover up what? Cover up this guy. Okay, this guy doesn't exist, right? Look like doesn't exist. Actually, I cover it up. Okay, using display none. Okay, I love this technique. I actually hiding many components in a page. Okay, whenever I want to show it, I will change the style display become just an empty string. Then it will show up. Okay. Yeah, I love to write this kind of UI. Put all the things in, okay? And then whenever I want the things, I set the style display equal to empty string. Then it will pop up. Easy, right? Very easy. Okay, so you don't need, that means what? That means that I love this because why? If I need to use JavaScript to construct a component, it is hard, right? You involve many lines of code. But using HTML to construct a component is easy. So I use HTML to construct a component, yet I set it to be none. Then I use the JavaScript, I set an ID here, I say that, oh, this ID, okay, I want to cover it up, okay? Something like that, okay? Then one more thing about XMLHttpRequest, which is another important thing, okay? The important thing is, it is a hidden inside the specification of XML HTTP So what is the specification? I capture this using Wireshark. Okay, so what is that? I want to get our custom page thing, okay, and let's say there's a hello.txt. I want to grab this file, and this file tell me response status code of 304, not modified, but not 200 OK. Now I can repeat this story in my browser. So this is an asynchronous example you have seen before. Okay, so I open up this display and show you here using the network. Okay, now reload. Can you see this here? The status code, what is it? 304 not modified. Okay, so what is the meaning of 304 not modified? And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. What is matter is, now since the status code is not 200 OK, will my code still OK? Yeah, what is the meaning of will my code still OK? Let's take a look back at my code. My code is hard code like this. I said the request when it's finished, the status code, if it is not 200, I will show alert box saying that error code. Okay, I want to have a 200 OK, right? Now what's happened here? I just used the same code, but the browser is actually getting 304 not modified. Why my program still see 200 OK? Is there something stupid going on? Yes, it's really stupid. Okay, the stupid thing is this screen capture. I capture it from this URL, the XMLHttpRequest specification. Okay, and the specification says one thing. What is that? For 304 not modified response blah 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 blah. Okay, if the server no. What is that? Where is it? User is SF server ASF, right? If you see 304 not modified, okay, the user agent, that means the browser. Browser means user agent. The user agent should interpret 304 as 200 OK and return it to the user in JavaScript later. Okay? So that means that, well, you will never know. So what does it mean? You will never know. You will never know whether it's a 304 or 200 OK. Or it should say that it doesn't matter. Why is that it doesn't matter? It's about the 304 not modified. What is the meaning of this guy? Okay, now I tell you what is the meaning of this guy. The meaning of this guy is, let's say I produce a first request, the get method, first request, it's the same URL will be repeated later. Then the server will give me the response saying that 200 OK. okay, with a tag, with a header field saying that the last modified time, what's the last modified time? The last modified time inside the server, that means the server update time of the document is, let's say, this is January 2000, like this, okay? Then what is going on? The browser should behave next like this. Because of this last modified, it will say the second request, let's say a few minutes later, I send the second request and press reload. I press reload, and it will practice new headers. It's called if modified since, and repeating this time to say that, hey, is your file updated? Okay. Why is echo this string? This string means that last time I see your update time is at the year 2000. Okay. Whether you have updated your file after this time. Okay. So this is a double question. One question is, did you update? The second question is, if you update, please give me something really up to date. If you didn't update the file, then what the browser will reply? The browser will reply 304 not modified. Okay? It will tell you that no, I didn't modify. And the return content length will be 0. It doesn't need to repeat the content because it's not modified. Okay? And it trusts the browser will have the cache. Okay? So that's why you clear the cache, it will get slow. Now, how to get rid of this 304 not modified? Okay, if you don't like it, okay, every time you want to get the fresh content from the server, how to do it? Now, give you the first and the most easiest way is shift reload. Yeah, understand why sometimes I encounter some problem. I ask you that, hey, press shift and reload. Okay, now you understand what shift reload now? Yeah, shift F5 or whatever. Okay, it means bypass the cache. Bypass the cache, and what does it mean by bypass the cache? The requests that send out don't have the if modified since, and force the server give me some fresh content. If I just press reload, it will just give me 304. Reload 304. Shift reload 200. Okay, but it's stupid, right? Can I write in your page, let's say that you write a system, okay, there is an alert box shown to the user saying that press shift F5, okay, or shift reload. It's stupid, right? How come you write this kind of thing and ask the user to press shift and reload? So there are ways to do it in using a program, using a jQuery or within a JavaScript. Let's talk about within a JavaScript. To use this way is totally out of your control, right? The browser, because the browser cache the things, and the browser really want to ask, hey, do I need to update my cache? So this is totally out of your control. So how can you do some cheating? The cheating is you can construct using the set request header function to construct a new header, and the new header is so happen to be if modified since. And write a beautiful day there. The beautiful day is day 0, Unix timestamp 0. That means 1970 midnight. Okay? So that every server will say that, oh, your file is too old. I give you new content. Okay? So this is way number 1. And this is well documented here. Some people will tell you how to do it. And that's why I also write an example here. I don't want to click on this because it's just simple stuff, okay? So if you want to understand the client-side caching strategy, you can go for this flowchart. It doesn't important at all. And it's more important that, hey, how about like this? I know that the client can bypass this. Now, how about some client, I don't know why, okay? Some people use the API code I don't know what are the code, okay, to query my stuff, okay? When they query my stuff, I don't want them to cache it, okay? I want to have every time pushing some fresh content to there. Now the way is even more simple. Okay, I use PHP as an example. It means that if you're using Python or Node.js, look for a way to add a new header to the response. And the new header to the response is set an expiry time. Change to some expiry time. Like you want to cache it forever, okay? Set it to 2036, no problem. If you don't want people to save anything on their browser, save cache control, no cache, no store. Then it will stop caching anything, and every time it will ask for fresh content. Okay? Now the last thing, what's the last thing before the break? Last thing is, if you don't want to use vanilla JavaScript, a server side is okay. Okay, server side is simple. But you know, writing vanilla JavaScript, we can change this behavior. But what if I'm using jQuery? Huh? I'm using jQuery, $.agents. Okay, set up an object saying that the type is get, the URL is blah blah blah. Okay, yes, I want to have every time pushing fresh content to me. Now, how to do it? Okay, if you have a read jQuery documentation or copy some codes, okay, you will find that you can set cache :false or true. Okay, to control whether I can save the thing into the browser or not. Okay, then you will think that hey, jQuery is just a godlike thing, right? Why? It can control how the browser cache the content. Okay, I would say no. Okay, it's not like that kind of god. Okay, it's just do some dirty trick. Okay, so it's dirty trick is using. Okay, you can also do it. The dirty trick is, let's say I want to query, send a query to get the HTML, index.html of our department homepage. Okay, you want to get it, you want to download it. Now, the jQuery is actually, if you set the cache is false, it will embed something like this. What is that? Question mark, underscore. Question mark means that it is a get method with parameters, with inputs, and the parameters variable name is underscore equal to some random string. Okay? So what is the purpose? The purpose is to tell the browser that, hey, every time I send the stuff, it's actually unique. The URL itself is unique. So that means that whenever the URL is unique, you will only cache that unique item. Next time, I will change this random string to another random string, so that the caching mechanism is that, oh, this is a brand new request. Okay, I won't use any cache object to replace the call, and that's why we won't pack any if modified since tag. Yeah, that's the way. And can you see it in my course homepage? Yes. My course homepage, XHR, reload. Wow, what happened now? Wait, okay. So let's take a look at this URL here. So copy URL, where are you? Copy link address, okay. Take a look here. What is the URL? JSON, this is my JSON file name. And this is because I write all the entire page in jQuery. Every time I want to get the fresh JSON, this JSON extension is my data storage. I want to get the data storage fresh. I ask jQuery to embed this string, so that every time it will produce something new to me. Okay, so that's the way to handle the caching. Okay, so the caching thing is here. It's all done. Okay, if you want to know more over XMLHttpRequest, okay, you can look at my cheat sheets here. So how cheating it is, just mean I will make a summary here, and also I will state what if we are using XMLHttpRequest level 2. Now all browsers support level 2. I don't know IE, don't ask me. Okay, yeah. If you don't want to have this string call using on register change. Level 2 support the exactly same behavior but change its name into on node. Okay, you can call on node or on register change. If you want to know more, go to this hyperlink. Okay, there is another control you can see in my previous example. I set request header. I can also get the response header. When the response comes back, I can look in the header different fields. I can look at the cache control, whether it will cache anything. What is the language? What is the content type? I can pre-fetch content type so that I know what is it. Expiry time of the cache, last modified time, some numeric constant status. If you don't want to have a status, you can have a numerical, not numeric, I mean the string of the status OK or not found, as well as the raw request. Okay. If you already know some of JavaScript thing, okay, you will heard of there is something called XMLHttpRequest response. Don't use it. It's not a complete support on all browsers. Okay, we will still use the response text. Okay, so let's take a break, and after the break, yeah, you need some coffee. Okay, we will go to some hot topic. So what's a hot topic? We will talk about culture. We will talk about how to set up private variable, private instance variable, or pretend to be an object, pretend to be a class using construct. Okay, and of course we have this week recommendation.